Who or what will maintain vibe-coded apps? Introduction, the flow and the friction. There's something electric happening in software right now. Between AI copilots, lightweight tools, and a new generation of developers raised on side projects and speed, we're seeing a shift in how people write code. It's fast, expressive, intuitive. People are calling it vibe coding and, most importantly, it works. Until it doesn't. Because for every late-night breakthrough and ship it now launch, there's a future version of you, or someone else, trying to trace logic through a maze of undocumented decisions and half-baked hacks. And while AI promises to clean up the mess, we need to ask ourselves, are we building the next generation of software, or the next wave of legacy code? What exactly is vibe coding? Vibe coding is more of a posture than a process. It's what happens when you throw out the rulebook, follow the energy, and build based on what feels right in the moment. It's common in early-stage startups, solo dev projects, hackathons, places where speed and momentum matter more than polish. The pros: it's fast. It's creative. You iterate quickly and explore ideas without bureaucracy in your way. The cons: tests get skipped. Docs get deferred. Architecture is optional. You move fast, and maybe break the future. Enter I, the copilot, janitor, and sometimes muse. AI tools are not just speeding up how we write code, they're starting to support how we live with that code after it ships. Beyond autocomplete, tools like Codiami and Refact AI are experimenting with context-aware test generation, auto-refactoring, and detecting tech debt patterns before they metastasize. Other platforms, like Mintlify, auto-generate documentation that tracks with code changes, helping ensure shared understanding doesn't evaporate in fast-moving teams. These tools are more than copilots, they're evolving into infrastructure for sustainable development. The promise is real. Vibe coders can stay in flow while AI quietly handles structure, consistency, and best practices. But here's the catch: AI can clean the dishes, but it can't stop you from throwing spaghetti at the wall. Flashback: when I learned what maintenance really costs. I learned this the hard way, in the years after the dot-com crash. The job market was brutal, and I landed at a consulting company started by a few founders who had watched their own startup stock options implode. They realized something key: companies were slashing their dev teams, but the software still had to run. Their pitch: outsource the maintenance. That's where I saw just how expensive maintenance really is, especially when you're cleaning up someone else's code, without context, documentation, or any idea what shortcuts they took. It was like untangling a ball of yarn soaked in molasses. It taught me something I never forgot: writing code is the easy part. Living with it is where the cost lives. The transistor moment: are we missing the point again? I once saw a documentary on the early days of the transistor. Engineers at the time were worried about how they'd replace these tiny components when they failed. They were stuck in a vacuum tube mindset, thinking small, thinking locally. What they didn't get was that the economics had shifted. You didn't replace a single transistor. You swapped out the whole chip and dropped in a new one. Maintenance at the individual circuit level stopped mattering because scale changed the game. I laughed watching that, but then I paused, because it's easy to be smug with hindsight, and I see us making the same mistake today. We're asking, how can we trust AI to write or refactor this one thing? But maybe the bigger shift is this: AI doesn't just help us code, it's changing how we think about maintainability, scale, and ownership of the code itself. Maybe we won't maintain code line by line. Maybe we'll regenerate it, remix it, rebuild entire modules on demand. But we're not there yet. Meanwhile, at enterprise HQs everywhere, while vibe coding is mostly thriving in startups, solo projects, and tiny SaaS teams, enterprise leaders are watching AI closely. Some are getting aggressive. The leaked Shopify memo from CEO Toby Lutker said it bluntly: using AI effectively is now a fundamental expectation of everyone at Shopify. Teams must now justify why a task needs a human at all. This kind of thinking, why not just replace devs with AI, grabs headlines. But behind the scenes, enterprise tech leaders are more nuanced. They know what's at stake: long onboarding cycles, legal liability, data governance, and hard-earned trust in systems that can't afford downtime. Many aren't asking, can we replace developers? They're asking, how do we use AI to get more leverage, without blowing up the system? What if AI really does change everything? Of course, there's a deeper argument. Maybe the old rules of maintenance don't matter anymore. Maybe AI won't just assist humans, it will redefine the entire idea of code stewardship. What if we stop thinking about software as something we maintain, and start thinking of it as something we continually regenerate? AI can already write modules, document endpoints, and suggest improvements on the fly. In a few years, it may do so proactively, across your stack. That's exciting, but it's still speculative. Until then, we live in the hybrid moment, where AI helps, but decisions still echo. Where human oversight still matters. So what do we do? If you're building today, especially with AI in the loop, here's what I recommend. Use AI as a lens, not just a lever. Let it surface patterns in your code, but don't let it choose your architecture. Design for AI-assisted cleanup. Clear naming conventions, stable interfaces, comments that explain decisions, not just logic. Think of every line as something a future human or machine will try to understand. Build modular systems. Whether it's microservices, components, or well-defined domains, make it easy to swap parts without rewriting the whole. Document the why, not just the what. Tools can infer what code does, but only you know why you chose that approach in the moment. Leave breadcrumbs. Fight the ghost in the machine. Don't blindly accept AI suggestions. Push back, understand, learn. Conclusion: flow is good, but memory matters. Vibe coding isn't going away. It unlocks speed, creativity, and joy. AI is accelerating that shift and offering real support to help manage the chaos. But let's not forget, the code you write today becomes someone's problem tomorrow. And if that someone is an AI, or a junior dev, or your future self, you still owe them clarity, structure, and thoughtfulness. We're not just building products. We're building systems that last. And the tools may evolve, but the responsibility doesn't go away. Because in the end, vibe coding is fun. But maintenance is forever. Has Google just destroyed all vibe coding apps with Firebase Studio? Google recently unveiled a revolutionary application that, surprisingly, hasn't garnered the media attention it deserves. The tech giant took the world's best AI model, Gemini 2.5 Pro, and transformed it into a powerful coding tool capable of building virtually anything. This application, called Firebase Studio, is free and user-friendly. This, in AI. What are the full steps to create a SaaS application using Claude Code and 3.7 Sonnet? Today, I watched a vibe coding session by Grant, the self-proclaimed, friendly neighborhood vibe coder, and a senior director over at Red Hat. What unfolded was a fascinating journey from an empty directory to a fully functional SaaS-style running log application, all built using Anthropic's Claude Code 3.5. Now, I've seen, in AI. OpenAI launches Genius O4 model with a programming CLI tool. OpenAI's release of two new reasoning models, O3 and O4 Mini, has sparked great enthusiasm within the tech community, with some proclaiming these AI systems to be at or above genius level. This is a bold claim, reminiscent of past predictions about AI that have often led to disappointment. However, in AI,